90 years ago, the Virginia Farm Bureau made our local farmers a promise to protect and preserve a way of life they worked so hard to establish. Today, our insurance agents work to protect all Virginians, not just farmers. We want to keep Virginia, Virginia. More information is at farmbureauadvantage.com.
The remarkable soybean. From its oil, we get products like ink, candles, and paint. From its meal, we get a high-protein fiber used in foods and animal feeds. Natural soy is replacing chemicals and products you use every day. You can learn more about soybeans at vasoybean.com.
The Virginia livestock industry is diversified. Producers raise sheep, hogs, goats, lambs, and of course cattle. But did you know that there's a certain number of Virginia farmers who specialize in raising miniature breeds? This week we visit an operation that's focused on miniature Hereford cattle. We also have a story about crop conditions as we go into the month of July. Plus, David Gianino with the Allegheny Mountain Institute will show us how to grow garlic in the backyard garden. We got a lot of ground to cover on this episode of Virginia Farming. Stay with us. I'm Jeff Ishii. Our Virginia farmers are looking at a pretty good crop of corn this year. That's according to the latest crop condition report, which indicates that as of the last week of June, 95% of the Virginia corn crop was in fair to excellent condition. Topsoil moisture has been adequate in most areas of the state, allowing for excellent growth. Field reports indicate insect pressure is no more than we see in a usual year, and no areas are reporting major disease issues. Virginia farmers harvested an average of 148 bushels of corn per acre last year. Let's hope the rest of this summer goes well, and we just might see some pretty interesting numbers for corn following fall harvest. Well, Virginia beef cattle producers know that when it comes to consumer demand, quality is what it's all about. When we think of beef, we need to be thinking lobster tail. Bob Severa has the story.
If you're going to be on the front line, you'd better be good. That's what Sam Hens says about Angus cattle and their keepers.
The consumer is the one that says yay or nay as to our product. Our product will never be produced as efficiently as the pork and poultry, but it is the most highly sought after, most flavorful protein package out there, and we want to make sure it stays at the forefront of the consumer at the meat counter.
To do that, Hens says, think lobster, as in lobster tail.
If you happen to be looking for a fish product for a dinner tonight or a party for the weekend, yeah, we think about lobster tail because that is the ultimate goal. But at the same time, we want to make sure when they're looking at, say, other red meats or red meat proteins, that there's no question in their mind they're going to go for a beef cut that'll add that extra value and flavor to their meal and have a successful, very well enjoyed evening.
It's all about differentiated quality, making decisions about cattle to get the best results and the most efficient returns.
We want to make sure that we're going to realize all the potential market that there is there. We're shooting for all the prime we can get. We certainly want to make certified Angus beef, and we've been fortunate to make those adjustment changes in our breeding program.
Thanks to genetics and grid marketing that lifted cattle above load lot anonymity, the lobster tail connection is within reach for beef as it reaches beyond choice.
But now where the benchmark is at 70%, the challenge is even tougher. But for those that are using good genetics that not only have the performance capabilities, but also the carcass traits that are not only CAB, but maybe pushing higher in prime, to still realize the premiums that they're after.
Tools like genomic testing and predictive databases have advanced those goals for the good of everyone, from ranch to meat counter.
We've got to genetically make sure these Angus influenced cattle work for the rancher back at the cow-calf level. But again, it's to make sure that our consumer, when they sit down to dine, whether it be at home or out on a picnic or in a restaurant, that they have the best eating experience that they can imagine.
Pounds might pay the bills, but it's quality that sets cattle apart. I'm Bob Cervera.
Thank you, Bob, for that report. Well, specialty produce it's a common phrase when farmers are talking about growing vegetables. But here in Virginia, there are also specialty breeds within the livestock industry. That's our focus on Ag Insights with Amy Rocher, coming up next.
So today we're in Broadway, Virginia, and we're visiting Bryan Hill Farm. It's a farm that raises miniature breeds, horses and cattle, actually. I'm joined by Tim Bryan. Tim, thank you so much for having us out to your beautiful farm today.
Thank you. Glad to have you.
So tell us how you guys got into the business of mini cattle.
Many cattle. I guess it started back 13 years ago. My wife and I was on a vacation in Texas and seen a sign, miniature cattle. So that sparked our interest.
Well, sure. So what did you do when you saw that sign? Did you go look at them and see what they were all about?
We did, and we took a year to research the miniature cattle because we didn't realize how many different breeds there were, and so it took a year to decide what was best fit us here on the East Coast.
And you guys decided on Herefords.
The miniature Hereford.
And why is that?
They have a lot of nice traits, but the biggest thing I liked was the predictability. Their registry is a true registry with the American Hereford Association. So you have hundreds of years of the lineage.
Okay. And why is that important to you? Even from a consumer standpoint, why is that lineage important?
To me, there's no big surprises. You know, what you see is what you get.
Right.
And I enjoy the breeding process of it, and that's what I like.
Okay. It seems like the miniature breeds are really growing in popularity. Can you give us why you think maybe they might be so popular?
Here on the East Coast, there's smaller farms, farmettes do smaller farms, and the more moderate frame cattle, the smaller frame cattle can produce more beef on that amount of acreage.
Okay, so let's talk about that acreage for a little bit. How much land does it take per head of the mini Herefords?
In this part of the country, we figure about 2.5 minis per acre.
Per acre?
Per acre. And that would change depending on what area you're in, but if you manage your ground well, that's...
And then what about feed? Obviously they graze, but do you feed as well?
We do. It's not part of their daily diet. They're a grass animal, and they do well on grass. But we feed enough to keep them humble and coming to us, and we grain our animals to butcher.
Right. So give me an idea of the difference between raising a full-size Hereford as far as the cost or maybe how much that cow would eat as opposed to one of your minis. How much does that eat? How much would the mini eat compared to the larger animal?
If you say a larger animal would be about a 1,400, 1,500 pound animal, and they would eat, so you can, on the same amount of intake, you can raise 2.5 of these. So if they weigh 750 pounds, and you times that out, that's 15, and so you're producing about 2,000 pounds of meat on the same acres that you would run that 1,400 pound animal.
Wow. So give me a comparison in weights to a normal size Hereford compared to a mini. What's the weight difference?
A mini can be, depending on the size and frame score, it can be a mature animal can weigh 500 to 850 pounds, something of that nature. Where a mature full-size cow would be 1,400 to 1,800 pounds.
Okay. So on the consumer side, because you say you do raise these cattle for meat, when we butcher a full-size cow, there's a lot of meat there. And you know, I was talking to your wife Debbie earlier, and she mentioned that she thought that maybe one of the reasons that these smaller breeds are popular is because the smaller cattle can fit into a freezer. You know, you can purchase a whole cow where sometimes you could only get a half or a quarter of a larger cow.
I didn't realize that was going to be such a nice thing, because all families don't have as much money nowadays, and they really do like the amount of impact, the smaller dollar amount to butcher and to buy the beef up front. We have raised them to butcher and the end user buy it from us. But in the recent years, there's a gentleman that I've sold animals to that has a nice little market. So he has the butcher, the everything, the package, and he's only showcasing miniature. That's all he deals with.
Okay.
And so he's
So you can actually, this guy actually just butchers and sells miniature breed meat.
miniature breed meat. And he
Wow.
lives in Pennsylvania. He comes down and buys every steer that we can produce. And that fits us now because it's simplistic. He's got a nice market, cornered market, and he's done the marketing and the selling, and it's to that. So
Right, okay. Now, you guys have kids, and I know they help out on the farm. How do you think the mini breeds play in with the kids? They've got to be easier for them to handle.
the one that they're not as intimidating. The intimidation factor is a lot better.
Right, right. And what do your kids think about the cows? Do they enjoy working with them?
They love them. I have the oldest daughter. She's really the cowgirl. She's always liked them from day one. She really enjoys the showing part of it. She's 13 years old. The middle daughter, she's always the horse girl. But in the last year or so, she's really gotten into showing the cow too.
Okay.
So they're at the age now where they're doing their chores and they're really taking care of the herd for me.
And at that size, you feel more comfortable with them than being with a larger animal,
Yes,
I'm sure.
It does make a difference.
Now, you just mentioned your middle daughter being the horse girl, and we haven't really gotten to your horses yet, but you guys also have raised a fairly different breed of horses. Tell us about them.
They're called halflingers. They're a small draft breed. And when I say small, they're still an average size horse. They're around 13 and a half to 15 hand horse. And they're just a good family horse. They're easy natured. They're pretty. They have a white mane and tail and some kind of a chestnut color, whether it's dark chestnut or light chestnut. And we drive them. Even my middle daughter enjoys the driving part. She can drive my team.
Okay, so you say she drives your team, but where? What do you put them in parades? Do you rent them out for weddings, or what do you do with these horses?
We've done a little bit of both. We do go to certain events. There's different events on the East Coast that we go, driving events. Actually, in 2 weeks, there's a parade here, so we'll have a parade. We have a stagecoach that we like to hook up to it. And we even use them here on the farm. Like, we'll drag the fields, and we have a sickle bar mower. We'll cut the grass and help maintain the farm here with them.
Well, when I walked into the barn, I saw all of their harness collars up there. You've got enough for a pretty good team of horses.
Yes, we do.
You could maybe, if craft breweries are really in, maybe you could start your own brewery and have your own Clydesdales.
We do. In years past, we've had a 4-horse hitch of them, so 4 in a row, and we're working towards getting the right 4-horse hitch together now as we speak. So.
Okay. Now, I know from speaking with them off camera that your kids are involved in 4-H. Do they show any of your mini breeds at fairs or in other shows?
They do. They here at the local level, they take a mini out to the shows, and they have to show against the full-size Herefords, but they still enjoy it, and they represent well. But they love to go. We go to Louisville and Ohio is the closest true miniature Hereford shows here on the East Coast. So.
All right. Now, when the mini Herefords are born, what size are these calves?
Oh, they're 25 to 40 pounds. They're adorable.
It's almost the size of a dog, really. Wow. They would have to be cute.
They are.
Because this little guy behind us here is adorable, and he's about 5 months old, I think you said?
6 months old,
yeah.
yes.
Yeah. They're great.
That's my boy, he's 5 years old. That is his project this year. He's taken ownership of him. And showed him at the local fair 3 weeks ago. So.
And how do you get along?
Oh, wonderful. Of course, at that age, they all get first place prizes. But
Well, you can't. They're just too cute. Between your son and the cow, it's a winner.
It is.
So what are some of the differences when you go to invest in a smaller breed that might be a different cost as compared to raising a larger breed?
Well, there would be some savings as far as maybe upfront cost of the different type of working facilities and handling that you would need for the animal. Second would be that you might not need the same caliber of fencing as you need for a full size. Other than that, it's probably the intake is a major difference in a full size and a miniature.
Okay. And then that's up to you as far as what you graze and if you decide to grain feed.
That's right.
Correct?
Yes. A couple different avenues. People, some miniature breeders only are a grass-fed type application or an all-natural product. They go that way.
Which I think the majority of our full-size animals are usually grass and then finished on grain.
That's a true statement.
For the most part.
And for our customers right here, that's what they prefer.
Okay. The grain finished?
Yes, they want something that resembles what they go to the store to purchase. And they don't care for the gamier taste.
Right. And that grain finish helps produce marbling, doesn't it?
Yes.
Okay. What's your favorite part about having these mini Herefords around the farm?
I've really come to find that they're just a wonderful animal. As far as from the reproduction aspect of it, people are worried about maybe problems with reproductive. I've found that not to be true. Enjoy the breeding process, putting A and B together to see what C is going to be.
So all of yours are bred artificial insemination?
We do some of both. We artificial breed every year to bring new genetics into the herd. But other than that, we keep about 4 or 5 different bulls that we run animals with. Here on the East Coast, the numbers are not here, so I have to work at keeping a variety of genetics so that someone comes to us can buy a nice little package of unrelated animals.
Okay. Do you think this is something that's going to grow? You said there aren't really that many here in Virginia. Do you think it's something that's going to take off soon and more people are going to be raising the mini breeds?
Yes, it has, and we've seen that in the last 13 years. We've been into this 13 years, and we're up to, we keep about 65 to 70 mature cows on our farm here, and yes, the interest has only grown in these.
Do you have any words of advice for someone who may be interested in raising, how many, you said maybe 2 per acre, 2.5 small breeds per acre? What other type of?
That's a question a lot of people ask, and I do answer it in a couple different ways. First off, I've found that for them to go find somebody that's been in the breed a while, that has an understanding and communicate maybe what their wants and needs are. And because I found most all the miniature breeders are very good at helping you reach your goal. Okay. And so if you do a little education, kind of learn what you think your goal would be with them.
Right. And your all's goal is what? I know you sell some for meat, but then your other is to sell for breeding, for genetics. Is that correct?
Yes, there's a beef side, a genetic side, a show side, and just a pure enjoyment fun side. So that's our market here on the East Coast.
Okay. All right. Well, Tim, thank you so much for having us out today. We sure have enjoyed it. Your horses and your cattle are beautiful.
Well, thank you.
They're also very adorable, if I can say that, because they're small and they're cute. And
this gentleman in Southern Pines just bought 4 animals, and he texted me the other night and said, they're adorable, they're cute. He said, can cattle be adorable? I said, most definitely.
Most definitely. Yours are definitely adorable.
So, thank you.
We'll be right back.
Well, this week we take a look at growing your own garlic. Can you grow garlic in your backyard garden in Virginia? David Gianino is with the Allegheny Mountain Institute, and he shows us how as we go in the garden at the Virginia School for the Deaf and the Blind in Stanton.
Hi, my name is David Gianino, and I am the Urban Farm Manager for Allegheny Mountain Institute, and we are located at the Virginia School for the Deaf and Blind here in Stanton, Virginia. And today I'm going to talk to you about how do you grow your own garlic. Yes, you can grow your own garlic here in Virginia. It's a wonderful crop. If you have finished up your summer harvests, finish up your summer crops, you're done with tomatoes, or you're getting sick and tired of your summer crops, or even your spring crops, garlic is a great crop that you can put in, at the end of the summer towards the fall, and then you can put it in the ground and leave it in all winter long, and then you reap the benefits next summer. And so what we have here in front of you is a variety trial of many different types of garlics that we planted last September, and this is finally coming to fruition. But garlic is a great crop. You can order bulbs online, and you can get two varieties overall. There's what's called a soft neck garlic and a hard neck garlic. And you get different flavors and different attributes depending on if it's a soft or a hard neck garlic. But overall, it's dealer's choice. It's up to either sweetness or spiciness if you like. But here what we've done is we have planted a long 50-foot row of garlic, and we have them about 8 inches apart in 3 different rows. We've irrigated them with drip tape. We've got 2 lines of drip tape, and it's been plenty enough irrigation for these garlics. What you will do is, towards the end of the summer, you'll buy your bulbs, and you will plant them about 1/2 inch to 1 inch down. And then once they start to germinate, you're really going to want to start mulching them with either some straw or an alternative mulch. We have chosen to go with wheat straw, and it's nice, it's dense. You can pull it apart to pull weeds if they come up, and then you can put it right back down. But garlic is going to continue to grow over the winter, and it's going to be hardy up to about, depending on the variety of course, it will be hardy up to about 10 degrees. So you have a really great range of temperatures you can grow garlic in. So the garlic will grow all winter long if you maintain it and keep it mulched and keep it irrigated. And then what usually happens if you have the garlic that creates scapes, if you want to look right here at this curlicue, this is called a scape. And garlic will shoot up this scape that you can actually harvest and use it for culinary cooking. It's sweet, it's got that garlic flavor, and it's delicious in a multitude of different items. But once that has done scaped, you will cut that off. But once you're ready to harvest, this garlic is going to be delicious. You're going to put it up and dry it. You'll put it up and keep it in a nice, cool, dry spot. And thank you for listening about how to grow garlic. And once again, my name is David Gianino with Allegheny Mountain Institute.
The title we are reviewing today is Virginia's Cattle Story, The First 4 Centuries. Published in 2004, it was first introduced on this very television show when we interviewed author Nancy Sarles and editor Kenneth Coons. Virginia's Cattle Story is an amazing story, tracing the arrival of the first cattle in Virginia in June of 1610 all the way to modern times. Cattle were allowed to free range in colonial days when pastures were unlimited and forages were reported as ideal for grazing. Throughout this colorful book, there are stories about how cattle became vital to not only common settlers, but their importance to our forefathers, including George Washington and Thomas Jefferson. From cattle drives across the beautiful Blue Ridge Mountains to astonishing images of cattle exhibitors at early fairs, there are hundreds of amazing photographs in this book. Everything from exhibiting cattle in the ballroom of the Hotel Roanoke in the early 60s to one intriguing photo of John Lennon and his wife Yoko Ono showing up at a farm in the Shenandoah Valley to buy a herd of dairy cows. Virginia's Cattle Story is 358 pages, and in my opinion, the authors achieved exactly what they intended to do. They captured the first 4 centuries of Virginia's cattle industry. The book is widely available through numerous sources, including the website of the Virginia Cattlemen Association at vacattlemen.org. Our Pearl of Wisdom this week is inspired by the observance of Independence Day. It was Robert J. McCracken who once said, "We on this continent should never forget that men first crossed the Atlantic not to find soil for their plows, but to secure liberty for their souls." We hope that each and every one of you has a fun and a safe Independence Day holiday. Remember, you can catch our show on demand anytime you like, even from your smartphone. Check it out at virginiafarming.com. That does it for our show this week. Have a great week, everyone, and happy Independence Day. I'm Jeff Ishii for Virginia Farming.
90 years ago, the Virginia Farm Bureau made our local farmers a promise to protect and preserve a way of life they work so hard to establish. We want to keep Virginia, Virginia. Anyone can be a Farm Bureau member, and there's a local Farm Bureau in every county. More information is at vafarmbureau.org.
Virginia soybean farmers are hard at work growing soybeans to produce products you use every day. Candles, soaps, even crayons can be made from soybeans. Remember, when you buy soy, you're helping to support American jobs, the economy, and our nation's energy security.